Hi, everybody, and welcome to COVID Chats. My guest today is Yonaton Davidowicz. He is a student of philosophy at the University of Vienna, and during our conversation, we delve into some philosophical ideas that relate to this crisis. It was great having another international point of view on the program, and I hope you enjoy. Now, without further ado, here's episode 14 of COVID Chats.
Hi, Ruben. Nice to be here.
Nice to be here as well. Great to have you on. Long time since I've seen your face. Normally a summer staple coming to the city.
Usually, this time not.
Right, this time not, unfortunately. I got a bunch of questions for you, but starting off, I'm just curious, what's the situation like in Vienna for you?
Well, the situation in Vienna in general is there's a basic lockdown. You're not supposed to leave the house unless it's for like necessity. So you can go to the supermarket, but now, for example, you're frozen.
Yeah, it might freeze a little bit, but yeah.
Okay, good. I'll just okay.
Yeah.
So the situation in Vienna now, it's basically a basic lockdown. So you're not allowed to leave the house unless it's going to shopping for necessity. So only supermarkets are open and bakeries. But like if you want a cake, no cake for you. There's no cake shops open. And like all the bars are closed, all the restaurants are closed, although you can order some of the stuff. Though my favorite pizza place is closed completely, so that's pretty sad. And yeah, so like you're not really allowed to go outside, but you can go for like a walk, for example. That's like you're allowed to go for a walk, or you are allowed to also do some sports. So what I do to like get some steam off with this whole being like locked in and everything is take my bike, drive up the mountain, do some mountain biking. I mean, I'm keeping social distance by like, I'm the only person there in the forest usually or something like that, and of my distance. So I think that's very fine. And yeah, because especially now it sucks because Vienna winters, it's very depressing, just cold, dark, rainy. You don't really go outside. It's like the whole city is hibernating. But in spring, everybody goes out. Now spring starts, and we have this on our hands, and it's that's pretty saddening.
If only this happened during the winter in Vienna, it'd be
exactly. Then like nothing would change. Everything would feel like normal, But
so how vigilant are the police about making sure people are staying distanced and things like that? Because I spoke to a friend of mine who's in Poland, and you can get fined there for even being out of the house and not having something to, like, not going to the grocery store, just walking around is eligible for a fine. So how strict have the policing been?
Well, the general rule, what's like the politician said, that like policemen are not going to stop individuals that are like going about their things. Like if they're outside, if they hold distance, they're not going to be bothered. And not like, for example, in France, I think there's like, and also in Italy, you have to have a form where it says, okay, I'm leaving the house at, I don't know, 6 p.m. for grocery shopping, and then the police will stop you and you show them the piece of paper and they decide if you're good to go or not. Here, it's more like free in a way because there is no such paper that you need to fill out. There is no time limit on when you are supposed to be outside, but the police is very vigilant in dispersing groups. And if like there's people that are just like sitting around somewhere, even with distance, they will be like, okay, good, we have a quarantine, get out. And if people don't comply, and I think in Vienna alone, there were already like 10,000 of fines or something like that. Not
really?
Fines, 10,000 fines that were dealt out because people don't comply, and then they just like, because it's nice out, and like, I don't know, 5 people sit around in the park together, do something, and then the police comes, they say, okay, you have to disperse. And if they're like arguing with the police, then it's a fine, and it's like up to 3,000 euros. So it's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's understandable. And yeah, so you also see just more police on the street, like more control, and especially at like the big areas where people usually would spend their free time outside, like in the big parks and stuff. There is the police going around also sometimes with like the sirens on, that like says you have to disperse, keep distance, blah blah blah. Because it's like a weird situation because you're allowed to go for walks, you're allowed to do that,
Right.
but on the same time, you're not really supposed to like enjoy yourself outside. You know,
Right.
it's just like for I don't know, like a quick, okay, good. I released my we say kama collar, I think, just like release the trouble of being inside the whole time.
Yeah, you need to get some physical energy. You need to expend yourself a little bit, and also take in some fresh air and some sunlight.
And some sun, yeah, exactly. Because in winter, it's just white. The sky is just white. You don't have any blue sky, like maybe one day in the whole winter. So like, yeah, you kind of need to get that vitamin D.
And are a lot of people outside sort of wanting the quarantine a little bit? Like, do you see a lot of people outside, or are people mostly listening and staying in?
There's less people outside, though. Like one day I was biking, and I was really shocked about the amount of people outside. It really did not feel like there's something going on because like it was the first really nice day. So lots of people went outside. I mean, I looked at the people and it was like, okay, good. They are in groups of like 2 or 3 people. It's not like more than 5 people together, and most likely they're families or maybe they're roommates. Or they look like they could be roommates, you know. But there was not like this feeling. But as time goes on, it's less and less people on the street, and especially in the evening. When I do like I don't know, like an evening walk outside, it's like empty, and I'm like in the student area where like everybody like goes out to get their drinks and everything, and it's just empty. And yeah, and also like I'm also living close to the biggest shopping street of Vienna. It's when I go there to like go to the bank, because that's the next bank, to me it's like empty, and that's pretty shocking because it's like usually pictures of like thousands of people just crammed there. So yeah, you feel it. And especially now there's like how you say, like a face mask there's a
You're required to wear a face mask now?
Yes, exactly. You're required to wear a face mask now when you go into a supermarket.
When you go into supermarkets, okay.
Yeah, but they hand out the face masks, so it's not like you
oh really? So they're giving them out to people.
Yeah, exactly. And the idea is that you keep the face mask. I mean, it's pretty unnecessary because it stops working after 4 hours, I heard. So, but it's more about like, I guess, the psychological effect of like people seeing the face mask and people realizing that it's like a serious business and not just like
Also, something is better than nothing. Like even I don't know what kind of masks they're giving out. They're probably just basic surgical masks.
Yeah,
not like
exactly. It's the complete basic mask, but like at least there's a lesser chance of getting other people sick. That's the point of them. It's like you know, just like a physical barrier, but like a good scarf, I guess, does the same work if it's wrapped around tight enough.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing with the mask that I think a lot of people didn't maybe necessarily originally realize, is that the mask is to prevent, if you're sick, it's to prevent you from spreading it, not so much you're not sick, oh, I don't want to get it. Which I think I initially didn't realize that, certainly. But I've been wearing a mask when I go outside in New York, and not that I go out very often. So when
can you even go out in New York?
You can go out. You can go out in the city for sort of basic exercise and walking around a little bit, but you know, you should try to limit it. I mean, I haven't been going out a lot, so I haven't had interaction with like the police or anything, but certainly when I do go out, there's a lot of police out driving around, and they're looking for gatherings and people, so they're being vigilant, but you are allowed to go out for small basic things, and as long as you're not flaunting it or being very extravagant, which I don't think people are. I think most people at this point are taking it pretty seriously. So I'm curious, when did things start to get serious in Vienna and in Austria as a whole? Because of course you guys are closer to China by proximity, and it started to move through Europe before it reached America.
Yeah, well, I think the problem with Austria is more that like not the proximity to China, but the proximity to Italy. Because they're our neighbor, and they're like until like last week, before it hit you guys so badly, it was like the epicenter of this whole pandemic, and also like the most cases in Austria were in Tyrol, which is like the border region to Italy. Um, but like for me, when it really like started was the 11th of March, because it was a
Okay.
very surreal situation. I'm like sitting in the first seminar class of the semester. It's about like Nietzsche. So they're talking about like Nietzsche and history, some,
Sure.
you know, philosophical stuff. And suddenly like one guy in the back says, okay, Kurz, like our chancellor, just announced that universities are going to close tomorrow. Or like next week. It's not clear. And then the professor was like, oh, well, let's do something Austrian. Let's just pretend like that does not happen, and let's pretend like this is a regular course. We'll see what actually will happen.
Okay.
And yeah, so like that was like, okay, good. Is this like, this was like, okay, shit's going serious, you know. And then in the evening it was like all official, and yeah, university stops tomorrow and everything, and which was a bit while unfortunate for me, because how it works in the University of Vienna, there's only limited spaces for certain seminars. And I wanted to, I did not get on the online list of two of the seminars that I wanted to get in. But practically speaking, if you show up the first time of the seminar, there in the class, although you're like, you're not, didn't make it on the list, but
Right.
like you are signed up for it, usually there's enough space that you actually get in, and it's no trouble.
Oh,
So
that's
I
good.
didn't get in into two of the seminars, which sucks, because this is supposed to be my last semester of philosophy, getting my bachelor and everything. So this is now a bit halted. So yeah, and then the week after, I think now we're at day 17 of the quarantine. Yeah, the day after or something, it was like just rolling more and more restrictions. First, like, okay, coffee shops and restaurants are gonna close from 3 p.m. And then it was like, okay, they're closing completely. Okay, schools are now closing. Okay, this, and then it was like the whole quarantine.
Right, right. Bit by bit, they slowly
Bit
started
by
pushing
bit,
everything.
slowly, they did that.
Have your
Yes.
have your classes moved online? Have they done a good job of transferring stuff online to that kind of learning, or no, not so much?
Well, what I heard with my colleagues from psychology, they're doing it great. Like they're doing everything like online with like the classes and Zoom and all these, you know, like online tools to do that.
Right.
But philosophy, yeah, I'm not very happy about that. Like at least one course, they actually do like once a week a Zoom seminar, and like that works fine. He's doing a good job, which I'm
Hmm.
happy about this guy doing it. But like then the Nietzsche professor, there's nothing, like, you know, like
Really?
you're supposed to usually do like a presentation in those seminars, and the presentations now there is just like, okay, make a 5-page um, summary of your, like what you would have said, and the professor does not even comment on it. So it's like, okay, good, there is no input of the professor at all, and it's a bit stupid. But on the other
Hmm.
hand, it's good for Latin, because I have to do Latin in order to finish my bachelor
Hmm.
in philosophy, which is a bit stupid, but it's like one of those holy cows that the people in charge never wanted to kill, because it's
Right.
like, oh yeah, you have to do Latin, like in. But yeah, this guy, he's doing a good job. He just puts up his lectures on YouTube,
Oh,
and he's a very great lecturer. Like he's not a professor, but he's like a lector.
right.
But very interesting guy, very good how he like talks about and explains you the language and the history and the culture, and like he will talk about, explain like a word, and then go really into the details of like the Roman life and what it really meant. So I like that. That's good, especially because usually in the Latin course there's no space, because it's one of these big lectures that like lots of different studies have to do it. Lots
Hmm.
of different, like the humanities all basically have to learn Latin.
Really?
So if you're not 10 minutes early, there will be
Right.
no
You
space
get
for
to
you.
sit all the way in the back or something.
No seats at all.
Oh, there's
Not
no.
even
Oh,
not
wow.
even on the staircase. Like
Oh my God.
if you're on time, no space. 10 minutes early, you get like maybe the space on the, on the staircase. So yeah, that's why I like stopped after like a month last semester with the Latin course, because
Yeah,
it was just like, okay, I can't do this.
too much.
Like if, because you miss so much then, because like I was there, then there was no space, and it was like, okay, no, I'm done.
I'm
I'm
done.
out. So that's actually like a good thing with Latin,
Right.
at least.
Yeah, that's a positive. You can just do it on YouTube at your own leisure and, start it and
Exactly.
stop it and bathroom break. You're not pressed in between two other students trying to take notes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's actually nice.
Are there any philosophical ideas that you've learned or that you like that you think could apply to what we have going on right now? I mean, in terms of saving lives, we can talk about utilitarianism and trying to save the most. But is there anything from your studies that you think interestingly applies here? I know that's putting you on the
Ooh,
spot a little
hard question.
bit. It's okay if you don't have an answer right off.
Well, I guess, yeah, like utilitarianism you can use in this situation very good, because I think that's also like the kind of ethics that a state should do.
Right.
Because, like, I don't know, you're a democracy, then you have to like help as many of your people as possible.
Mm.
And I also understand these whole like terrible decisions of the doctors, that they have to think, okay, good, like what's with, I have an 80-year-old guy that is on a ventilator because of like some not corona related reason, but then
Right.
I have the 40-year-old family father. Okay, good, got to give it to the family father. And
Right.
there's like lots of different ethical considerations to do in this crisis. I mean, in general, yes, utilitarianism, I think, is just the most practical approach to this.
Sure.
And just like to try to help as many people as you can,
Right.
in the best way, and have the best utility out of this whole situation. And then, but then if you use like something like Kantian ethics, you just don't get nowhere,
Mm.
because like then you're just like, okay, good, yeah, I have to respect completely the dignity of the person, and why should like something that is unrelated to like this 80-year-old person now basically kill him?
Right.
Why should that do? But we are in this crisis and we have to think practically, I think, and
Yes.
that's why utilitarianism in this sense is the way to go,
Right.
because that's practice.
Right.
But then you see Great Britain, for example, that uses this like utilitarian model, and they just like miscalculated, I think, in the beginning, because like Johnson was like, okay, good, yeah, we'll just because the economical repercussions will be so bad, we'll just like keep business open as usual, and there's going to be deaths, but yeah, the greater good is the economy and how much
Right.
other people would suffer. Well, now you see they changed their mind, because that's not working. And
Yeah.
that's I don't think it's utilitarianism's fault. It's just like a misapplication, or just like the calculation of this whole issue.
Absolutely.
And yeah, also questions of say of equality here are like popping up, because like, okay, good, so everybody, so like these, you see all these famous people, rich people being like, oh yeah, we're in this boat together, people, like with this I forgot his name, but this American guy with on the yacht being like, oh yeah, we should help, we're in this together, and he's in this yacht. And then I just like think about like, I don't know, people living in Harlem in the projects or something, like stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're not in the same boat. And
Absolutely.
I think this is a time for the left to wake up, seize the moment, and actually try to get some social change and some change of the structure of property and how do you say this? Eigentumsverteilung. I forgot the word.
It's okay. No,
But,
I think you're right though.
Wealth disparity has to be changed. And you also see this with like the government's response, because like also like in America, there's like trillions of dollars, like trillions. It's crazy that they just put to the stock market, and then just like poof, it's gone, and or also like in Europe, it's like all about like the businesses. They need the billions and billions of dollars, but then I don't know, people get left behind.
Right.
And it's like, okay, good, the business is more important than like the people. And
it's a tricky balance. It's very tricky because, the people are what push the businesses forward. but if the businesses aren't active, then the people can't reap any of the rewards from the businesses. They can't make any of the money. So it's like, it's this very
Yeah.
hard system to divorce from one another, because
No, of course there's
right,
also the
people rely on the
questions of, okay, good, yeah, but these businesses then have like all these workers that are reliant on them also having money and
right,
stuff. So like, I understand, of course, that you have to help the business. I'm not like, don't give them anything. No, of
right.
course you have to like support this, because we cannot be like in this terrible economical crisis that it's going to be afterwards.
Right.
You have to try to mitigate it, and that's a way of mitigation. But yeah, it could be better. Could be better.
So moving forward to sort of people losing their jobs, I know you were actually a victim of that a bit. You were doing some entertaining for children's parties and other things of that sort. That has now dried up. What has that been like for you? And is there any sort of online entertaining you can do, or has that not been asked for?
That has not been asked, because like I'm working for like a small company that is like doing the, it's like let's say like an agency. It's not really an agency. It's some weird mix thingy where like they tell me where to go, and then I'm going there and I take the supplies from like the warehouse of this agency thingy, and then I go there. So like it's basically just been like cut down. Like I think the 3rd of March, the 3rd of March, they were saying, yeah, there's no parties anymore, and that was pretty sad.
Yeah.
Sad, because that was like the way I made my money, and like I did get like a bit of support from my dad, but like it's not enough to, you know, pay the rent and like have a living.
Of course.
And so now that there's no money coming in anymore, it's like pretty difficult. But at least like I have a very good father who helps me now out. Like now he's just like giving me the money for rent, and like I can just use the credit card from him to like buy groceries, you know.
Right.
So like I'm very thankful that I have that, because I know like not everybody has the luck to have such supportive parents.
Yeah.
And like what I'm also thinking is of like my other colleagues that have this as like their primary way of getting money, and now it's just like gone. And also the problem is like Austria is a social state, you know, like a welfare state. So there is all this stuff like unemployment money and social help and like lots of different programs. But if you work like this kind of job where it's not really on the books, let's say there's no contract or anything, then you can't get any of the benefits, because like it's not possible. So that is a bit unfortunate as well. Although like the last weeks I was thinking, oh my god, I should have just like pushed to become like an official worker there. Like I've been working there for 3 years already, you know, like it's I think I should get like employed, you know. But now I heard from a friend of mine who also worked there that he just got fired because the like boss could not, I don't know, doesn't want to pay him for doing nothing.
Right. All those
which
benefits.
Is basically what happens though now everywhere. People have to be paid for nothing, because like there has to be some money. And what I'm now thinking all the time is like, because there is like some money that businesses get, and small businesses especially get some money from the economical help. And I'm asking myself, okay, good, is my boss now getting this money or not? And if yes, is he like where's the support for me and my colleagues or whatever? Or is it not happening? I don't know. I cannot judge. It would be interesting to know. But it's just like very dire in the sense that like, okay, good, like usually, okay, you lose a job, you look for a different job. It's pretty much impossible now to do any, like there are just no openings, unless you are like a certified health worker or something like that, or you have a car and can deliver stuff. But
But then there's also the concern about being like, I mean, I know some delivery places are hiring in New York, and I'm sure in Vienna too, seeing as people are getting tons of stuff delivered now.
Yeah,
Um, Not as much,
no
no.
openings. I looked it up.
No openings. All right.
And
Well, I was
also,
even going
also
to
it's
say, even if there were openings, the risk of infection for 10 hours of work that might not pay that great, is it even worth it? That's also a question.
yeah, that's also of course
But
a
for
question.
you, you didn't see any openings when you looked
I
up.
didn't see any openings there.
That's
Also,
interesting.
it's a bit of an awkward situation because I worked for like the big like delivery company. I mean, now they changed like ownership. Like
Mm,
it was called Foodora, but now like the head of Foodora said, okay, we're just merging the two delivery companies we have into one thing, and it's Yum. But like they actually fired me, the Foodora, because I worked for them. Like it's less of a firing and more like I was too lazy to quit because working conditions became worse and worse.
mm,
Like I started off being like a regular employed person with 8.50 an hour, no matter how much I deliver. It was nice, good,
yeah.
no problem. Just ride around my bike, good stuff. Then they changed it to not being a regular worker there, but like a freelance or thing. It
Mm,
was like, okay, either you can do that or you can go. I was like, okay, good, I'll do it. And then it was like €7 per hour. I was like, okay, good. Still okay.
right.
But then
Uh-oh.
they changed it even worse, and then it was €4 an hour plus €2 per delivery. But
Wow.
like if you are like, I don't know, in one part of the city having to pick up the food to like a completely other part, then
Right.
you just have one delivery, and then it's €6 an hour. And then I was like, then it was snowing, it was winter,
Right.
and I was like, they wanted me to work, although there was like, I don't know, like a foot of snow on the streets and
Okay.
stuff. And I was like, I'm not doing that. It's like too dangerous, like
Yeah.
for like €4 to €6 an hour,
Not
I
worth
want to risk myself being hit by a car. No,
it.
just
Of course
no.
not. Yeah.
And they were like, nah, come on, come on, come on. I was like, no. And then I just left, and then I just like never returned their calls and stuff, and never like applied for new shifts. And then at some point I just like got the email, oh yeah, we're sorry, but like we had to let you go. And I was like, oh, I totally forgot. I wanted to actually go there and like quit myself, but
Yeah. They did it for you. So
yeah, exactly.
So, talking about other means of making money, you mentioned to me that you had a business venture in mind about sort of a renovation project for your mother's home, which is in Switzerland, and renting that out.
Yes.
Now you mentioned that has to be on hold, of course, partly because Switzerland is so close to Italy. So, talk to me about what that has been like, and could you see this going on once the pandemic is over? Could you return to this project, or are you going to look for?
Uh, yes. I have to return to this project because the point is that my mom is not, let's say, not the best person handling money and
Mm,
things like that, and handling, I don't know, her properties, because like she inherited lots of stuff, but like she sold like half of that for like basically nothing, and the money just like poof, vanished. So
yeah,
I really did not want that to happen to the house of Switzerland that was
yeah,
bought with the like war reparations money that was paid to my family because the stuff was Aryanized.
yeah,
And I really want this to be like still part of the like the family, like that
of
this
course,
house like still belongs to me and
right,
to the family, and not get just like sold for nothing.
right,
So what I did this summer was go there and like really just like renovated by myself basically, and like I like repainted the whole house and like made like windows myself with like wood and like window things, and like did all these like handy work stuff, and made like very very nice pictures, put them online like your Airbnb, all this stuff.
right,
So like that there is some money coming in order for this house not like going in foreclosure because my mom forgets to pay like the taxes or something like that,
right.
because that would be like a very typical thing. So that there is like some money, and yeah, so like it actually worked out. Like people came, they rented the house. There was like some money going in, which was very very good to like pay all the bills, because there's a lot of bills of like, I don't know, workers that have not been paid for years for like, I don't know, like a new heating system or something like that.
Mm.
And yeah, so like it was working well, it was nice. I also had like a person that rented it for like a whole month, which is very good, because I still like, now I'm like kind of living on this, on the $1,000 that I got from that.
Right.
But yeah, she like left, and when this whole thing started, and like left early a bit to like her own apartment, and then yeah, then Switzerland also became like, you know, shut down and everything. And it started off with like, you know, like she left because it was not warm enough, because my electrician couldn't come because he was locked in Italy, and he tried to cross the border and he couldn't, because like it's literally 10 minutes from the Italian border, from the like the epicenter of this thing. And so like all my workers are Italians, because Swiss workers, it's crazy. It's like, I don't know, like a cleaning person, you pay for them $40 an hour. It's insane. $40 for a cleaning person in Switzerland. Wow. I don't know about American prices, but for us in Austria, you pay 10 euros for that.
Right. For an hour.
If you're nice. For an hour, yeah.
Yeah, 40
$40. So that was like a very bad thing in the beginning, because basically, I don't know, somebody comes for 3 days, they pay, let's say $150, but then I have to pay $100 for the cleaning person to like come there and clean before, and then it's just like $50 in the end from the whole thing. And it's in the end it was like more of a loss than a gain in this thing, until I got my Italian workers. But as soon as I got them, I lost them again. With this
because of the virus,
Corona crisis. But I hope that, like, of course, when people go on vacation again and everything, and the borders are open, that I can again put it up on Airbnb and let it be rented out there, in order to actually renovate the house properly. That is the like the whole idea. So it pays for itself, you know.
Right. Well, I'm glad you can continue the project, hopefully, when this is done, and we'll see some greater dividends from it in the future.
Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully. So shifting from your mother's home to sort of the home you're in right now, what's that been like? Do you have roommates? How are you holding up? Are you spending a lot of time on the screen, or are you able to read a little bit too? What's that been like?
Well, I'm living with a very good friend of mine, Willy. Like, we know each other since we're like 6. We went to the Shomer together also, and partially together to school, and also with my girlfriend from America, from New York, actually. I think you've met her.
Yeah, I think I've met her.
Christine.
Oh, a while ago.
Yeah, a while ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, we live here together, and like it's pretty harmonious. Sometimes people get irritated, especially like when they just woke up and it's just like but then afterwards we apologize to each other for being dicks to each other, because it's like, okay, we want peace here, you know.
Sure.
And yeah, what I'm doing right now, I have like this project called My Little Ship that I'm building. You know, these like how you say, the Modellbau, you know, like these little things with like all these little parts that you have to paint and like
the ship in a bottle, in the bottle.
No, not in the bottle, not the bottle, not the bottle.
But it's like a model, a model ship.
Yeah, exactly, a model ship of the HMS Victory, if you're interested. That like I had this like set since I was 14. I got it from like a friend for my birthday. I never got around to like do it. I never like felt like it, because like that was when I got it, I already stopped doing this like model building stuff, because I did it when I was like small.
Right.
And then now when the current quarantine started, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take this boat that was like sitting here for 9 years in this like box, and I'm gonna do it. Yeah. And it's actually been very nice. Yeah. Although last night I was actually like painting this boat from like 12 to 6 in the morning, and I actually lit myself on fire by accident. Like there's I had a candle burning because I needed to make a hole through the plastic. So like I didn't want to like hold like the lighter the whole time against this metal thing, and so I was painting, being like all focused, having this little candle next to me, and suddenly my arm feels warm, And I looked there and I see like flames coming from my arm, and it was like, what the fuck? And then like took it out. Also, it was not very good because there was lots of flammable stuff around me, you know,
Yeah.
like glues and paints and
Yeah. You could have
oils
burned down
and
the
I don't
house.
know. Yeah, so yeah, that was not very smart to do. I'm
Right.
gonna take care of my candles next time.
Good.
And yeah, besides it, of course, like I'm reading some stuff for like university, because like at least that's what they do. But that's what they do generally. They put up the
Reading.
stuff online, and
Right.
then I like try to read this. I play lots of Civilization, if you
Sure.
like, with,
Yeah.
with friends. We have like this group. Actually,
Nice.
like in 3 hours, we're gonna play a game with like 9 people.
That's fun.
We have like all from like in Germany and other countries. We come together and play
That's cool.
Civilization.
Yeah.
That's something, and yeah.
No, so you're staying, it sounds like you're staying pretty sane and staying busy, which is good, but also still having a little fun, you know, and talking to friends and things like that.
Yes,
So,
exactly. And of course, I'm trying to like do some biking when I can,
right.
to
Get outside a little
stay
bit. Right.
stay fit and not become a blob here.
Yeah.
And yeah, what else? What else? Oh yeah, of course. I'm listening a lot to podcasts now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know it, Dan Carlin's Hardcore History. I just like got like this whole package, and now I'm listening to this to the whole thing, like from episode 1 to the last thing.
Yeah.
And that's very nice to listen to while doing my boat. So
Right.
very
Perfect.
very thing. And cooking,
Yeah.
lots and lots of cooking and baking,
Yeah.
like on a more higher level than I usually do. So
Mm,
it's
that's
nice.
great. Yeah. Cooking is a really good task because it has such a clear start and finish, and it's such a defined piece of time. It's like a nice thing to schedule in the day, and you can look forward to it, but you can also learn something new. And it's not
Exactly.
like, oh, I have to go cook. Like, you know, it's
Yeah, no, it's a nice thing.
right.
I
It's a
really
good
like
task.
doing that.
Yeah.
Now
My
there's
mother's
like
been cooking a lot.
there's a pizza dough waiting, rising slowly now. For example, yesterday I made like some with my roommate some döner, like döner brot. How do you say that's like kebab? You have kebabs, right?
Yeah,
In
of course.
America.
Yeah.
All right, so like the like flatbread for it. Like there's
Oh, okay.
like
Like
a special
the
flatbread that we
pita
use
or
for that.
the
I don't think
lap.
you guys use it, but like
It's like
yeah, it's not a pita. It's like it's
like
this
a
Turkish
lapa.
flatbread. It's no. It's more like a pita, but it's different.
I
It's
think I
like
know what you mean. And it full. It's for like a gyro or a gyro.
yeah, like kind of. It's
Pronounce
but
it.
it's the Turkish version of the
Shit,
gyro.
Turkish version. Right.
I always think it's so funny because like here we only have like döner, you know, which is the Turkish version of the gyro, which is the
Right.
Greek thing. But in America, you've got everywhere it's a gyro. Although
Right.
even like I don't know, like Arabs and Turks might like actually give it to you, but it's the gyro because that's like the norm in New York.
Right.
And I always thought that was a very fascinating
Yeah.
difference.
The
Here
way
it's
the
all the
cultures
döner.
change.
There's like only like 2 gyro places in whole of Vienna that I know of, but they're very good, better than like the usual stands in the city of New York.
Nice. Yeah, yeah. American street food can be a little hit or miss sometimes.
Yeah, very true. But they're like, there's nothing better than like a good taco truck. I wish we had that. I
Yeah,
really wish.
some Mexican food would be great.
Yeah.
Well, closing thoughts from you. Any other things left to say about this pandemic? How it's affecting you, or you seem to be doing pretty well. So that's good to hear, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, if you don't.
Well, of course, there's like worry about like family members that live in Germany, because like one of my uncles, for example, he has a COPD. It's like this like bad lung disease, which is like the condition that makes Corona deadly for sure. And like I'm very worried about his health, and also my aunt, who's like not in a great shape, health-wise speaking. And yeah, like I worry about them, and I also worry about like my girlfriend's family that's in New York, because like as I have heard, it's like pretty bad in the States, especially in New York. So there's a lot of cases always like these worries. And Yeah, but like besides that,
Yeah. I mean, the best thing you can do is
we're
stay
still all
inside.
alive.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all still alive.
Stay at home, wash your hands.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. You beat me to it. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. It was a pleasure talking to you. I'm glad you're
It was
doing
very
well.
nice.
Glad you're staying
Thanks for
safe,
having me.
of course.